this works. Give me a sec as I finish this little live setup. Welcome. We're going to start in just a second. Oh, yeah. Settle in. We're going to do a late night comic book read with Zatanna. I have some beats in the background. It's like for galactic travelers. Hey, Spider Carnage. It's a full moon. I was supposed to be live like 5 hours ago, but time's been crazy for me. It's been a crazy day. So I'm not going to be doing a card reading today. Instead, we are going to revisit Swamp Thing and Alan Moore. So just a second. Welcome, you guys. I'm Zatanna. It's been a little bit of a while. I've been online. I've been with you guys live for a few reads, but tonight we're not going to do a full comic book read. I have a few ones that you can get on my YouTube. But for now, we're going to talk a little bit about magic and the full moon. Yes. Hi, Awesome Guy D. Welcome. So, Zatanna is one of my, I love her actually as a character. I don't know if she's been done live action. Yes, I know, Pokey. I have such a crazy story to share with you guys, but I'm not going to. It's not exactly that interesting. And I've been meaning to talk to you, Pokey. I've been having some technical difficulties on my end, setting certain things up for superhero school, like my modules in the back end. So I think I finally figured it out. But I wanted to have the call with you, Pokey, when I actually had stuff set up. We do need her on screen, hey? Like, let me just there we go. All right, I'm back on the screen. Oh, yes. Hello, you guys. I'm actually planning on doing a dance as Zatanna, I Get So Lonely by Janet Jackson. I will maybe... I still have to learn the whole thing, though, too. Especially when you don't understand the cause. Oh, my gosh. Trying to troubleshoot technical difficulties. Holy cow. I'm not even, like, I would consider myself a super technical person, but holy cow. Troubleshooting is not my favorite thing to do. Okay, guys. Welcome. Dandy Money Man. Hi, you guys. It's Zatanna. I have a wand. Oh my gosh, where did it go? I just located you with my wand. Now you're missing. I literally spent so long looking for my magic wand, and I don't know where it went now. Anyways, if I find it, Dandy Money Man, I wanted to do some magic for you guys, and I actually have a few fun magic tricks that I wanted to do today. Did I make the dough? You know what I made today, you guys? I made cookies. I made birthday cake cookies today. So hopefully that passes for an offering, Pokey, and an apology. Yes, you know what? You came at the right time then, my friend Deadpool. Yeah. You know, I do like the characters that I would say like a lot of people don't necessarily, the mainstream folks don't necessarily know Zatanna. So if you guys aren't familiar with me here, let me give you guys a little bit of a background to Zatanna. My name is Zatanna Zatara, right? My father's a great magician, and my mother is actually a Homo Magi from ancient Atlantis in the world of DC. Fun fact, both DC and Marvel deal with the ancient world of Atlantis. I myself personally, as Rachel Z, it's funny too because Zatanna is called Z and my middle name's Zabrina. With the Z has its own fun symbolic meanings. You can get the lab. I'm a huge Constantine fan. Yes. Both myself, Rachel, and Zatanna love Constantine. Mr. John Constantine. And those of you who are called to walk that path, right? It's not an easy one to fight the shadows and the evil and all that kind of good stuff. I've got like wolfy hair on my magic hat. Do you have a favorite story by Constantine? I was actually going through top 20 Constantine stories. So let's go into Zatanna's background, and then I'm going to talk about Constantine, and then we are going to read some Swamp Thing and a little bit of Crisis on Infinite Earths. So, how do these stories all relate, you may ask? And that's the funny thing about certain characters. So, Zatanna, she's actually in the latest comic book iteration, I think, of Superman, Absolute Superman. And they give her like the Hannibal Lecter treatment. They basically put her in like an insane asylum. She has like the whole like mask thing so she can't talk, because the way that my powers work is by talking backwards. So speaking in reverse. And my very first spell was when I was about like 8 years old, said gelato backwards, and then gelato fell from the sky, and there you go. Sometimes that Martian Manhunt. Okay, in what Martian Manhunter and Doctor Fate? Do you mean Fate or Faint? Pokey, because Doctor Fate is. I think it's like the helmet of fate. I think myself and my friend Aria talked about this when there was two Zatannas. That one of her, like her father has a very complicated lineage, which we can talk about another time. Yes, the helmet one. Yes. And it's something that we're going to talk about today too, as well as like this idea of when you are one of those superheroes that holds a mantle. Zatanna, myself. Oh, thank you, Herbie Collins. You guys are great. And I finally got my ish together when organizing a lot of my comic book reads. So thank you guys for the patience with that. And like, I will have a bit more roundtable discussions when it comes to like analysis, like especially this one, because I've read this one a few times live, but it's been a minute. But I'm gonna come back to this in just a second. So we'll kind of organize, half organize. I need your help. I need help. Just 200 things happening at once. Yes, exactly. And I need to. I am a project manager, right? So a big part of doing any kind of plan is the planning, like the actual making of the plan, and then being able to be a bit more agile when things don't go according to plan, because they never do. So back to Zatanna. How do you guys know Zatanna? How, just curious, for you guys who know the character Zatanna, what was your first super organized Rachel? Let's put that into the universe, Herbie. Organization, come to me. That's why I was Batgirl the other day. I'm like, okay, Barbara, you give me your library science stuff, right? My autism makes me a project manager. I have a nephew of mine who he's been diagnosed as autistic, and it's funny. I have a funny story with him because I play video games inverted. I don't know if that's a weird thing. My sister's like, she doesn't play inverted, so it's funny when I left one time and I was like, here, nurse, I'll use my controller, and she's like, what is this crap? I'm like, it's inverted. So anyways, I play inverted. Some games don't actually allow you to invert the controllers, and it does take me some time, but I can probably play not inverted if I play the game enough. But yeah, I usually play inverted controls. Why am I bringing this up? My nephew diagnosed as autistic. I just think that he's just very shy and his way of communicating is different. Anyways, that's just my opinion. Anyways, he came over one time and we were playing Borderlands 3, and he usually plays like Fortnite. And Fortnite's third person. I haven't played Fortnite yet, don't kill me. But Fortnite, like Marvel Rivals, they have that perspective of like your third person, right? So you can see their bum and everything as they're walking through the game. Kind of nice in some regards, right? I wish I could do that with Master Chief a little bit, see a little bit of Master Chief. But anyways, he came over, played Borderlands 3, and in the beginning, he was having a hard time. And my hubby was like, you know what I think it is? It's because the controls are inverted. So the minute we put the controls not inverted, because he's used to that, it's all of a sudden he was better than I was. I used to play that way as a kid because I was into flight sims. Yes, it's because of that 2 years before change. So new menus, I think it's because of when I play first person shooters, like I always think of my head like as being on like a tilt, right? So I always think of it as if you're tilting the controller down, like the joystick down, you're lifting up, because that's what it would be like in a plane, right? So when it's first person shooter, I'm usually inverted. When it's third person, No, unless I'm flying. So interesting. I don't have PS5. I'm an Xbox girl. I did used to play PlayStation, but then we couldn't get a PlayStation 5, and then finally I was like, forget it. And then my sister worked for Microsoft, so we got a free Xbox out of the deal before she left. Can now get pets in Fortnite. It's currently The Sims. You know what? I'm concerned about starting Fortnite, you guys, just because I'm already playing Baldur's Gate 3. And that is a very time investment game. I also play D&D tabletop in Staatsglove Redemption, like on Discord on Thursday nights. I've been trying to get my fellow D&D companions to stream it because it's kind of I love tabletop, right? It's RPG games are some of my favorite video games just because it is the story. You're playing a living story, that kind of stuff. Black Mexico. Oh yeah, I'm gonna put. If you guys have good RPGs to share, please do drop them in the chat. One of the guys in my group was talking to me about an Arthurian Legends one. But Fortnite, I would definitely play Fortnite. I had to play, yes, and to back to you, New Menace. I think it's the flight simulation thing. And Spilly Pants, I love Fortnite. I'm your age. I probably would. I love chaos and shoe stings and all that kind of stuff. When I figure out how to activate Discord chat, and yeah, so all the implementations, that's what I need your help with, Pokey, but I also need to be in a place to be organized enough so that our call's actually fruitful and not just us. I feel like we could end up going off on a tangent talking about a bunch of other things too, which we should probably set aside time to just do that. Apex, I have not played Apex, and Kip, thank you. You can play in increments, you can battle, so it's not progressive levels. Okay. Difficult. Yeah. Some things are just a bit too complicated. Like, Pokey was there when I was first playing Baldur's Gate 3 with my sister, and it was kind of a nightmare. For my poor streaming audience, they're like, oh, nothing's actually happening. Just Rachel trying to get confused in the map. Different. Oh, yeah. Yes, yeah. It's a whole, I mean, video games to me, like, some people get so triggered when I say this, that, like, video games are an art form and, like, they deserve valid analysis, and it's such a unique medium because you get to be entrenched in the game. Question for you guys. Does Zatanna appear in any video games? Because, fun fact about Zatanna, I grew up right next to Arkham Asylum. Right? So the mythos of Zatanna is actually entrenched in like a lot of the Gotham stuff. So that's interesting. With Halo, yeah, I only play Halo with 2 players. Yes, Philippe Head's always distracted. I had a plan, right? And I was actually supposed to be live a lot earlier, you guys. So welcome to the live. Initially, I was going to be live earlier today as Zatanna, Mistress of Magic, to do some card readings for you guys because it's a full moon. So we have a full moon in Taurus right now. I'm a Taurus, so I'm feeling extra activated by this. Anyone who has any Taurus placements are going to find themselves activated by this. But what do you mean by this? My dog's name is Bruce Wayne. Oh, I love that name. Bruce Wayne. Oh, oh, Gwen Stacy, hello, my friend from a previous lifetime. I feel like we may know each other from that. And thanks all of you guys who joined me for my show. Yes, I am the magic girl from the DC universe. I am Zatanna Zatara, the Mistress of Magic. I'm part of the Justice League Dark. I love Constantine. Zatanna kind of gets around, How could you not, though? She's amazing. So let's go into magic for just a bit and like why I love Zatanna personally. I actually first found out about Zatanna when I was doing research on the Ninja Turtles. I'll tell you why. Because Leonardo da Vinci apparently is Zatanna's grandfather. And I actually have his notebook. Now, Leonardo da Vinci is an interesting character. Like, if you think about Renaissance artists, right? The idea of being Renaissance is that you didn't just paint, you didn't just draw, you were multifaceted, right? You sculpted, you had a bunch of different mediums as an artist, right? In our society right now, we tend to, compartmentalize things. Like even when you go to school, like if you major in something, like when I did psychology, I had such a tough time because you could do like child psychology, behavioral modification, abnormal psychology, more counseling stuff, more research stuff, theoretical psychology. I took a really cool course called behavioral endocrinology, which talks about all about how your hormones affect your behavior, the connections between pain and pleasure. So all of these things, like it's all to say, we're all of it. We're very complicated. And so when it comes to like the differentiation between things like science and magic, right? What does that look like? Frankie Eaton Jr., hi. Oh, see you next time. Hello, hello. Illicit memories. Oh, yes, 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 yes. I love you guys. Great, 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 great. Cheese. Great, great, great. But you remember, like the Ninja Turtles are named after the Renaissance artists of the time. It's kind of like, I think, goes back to the idea of like martial arts, like what is considered an art form, right? And the concept of it is better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war, right? So when it comes to Zatanna, she also is like the magical support for a lot of the Justice League stuff. It's known that, Superman and anyone from Krypton are vulnerable to magic. And even Batman, he always like is all grumpy, being like, "Oh, magic doesn't make any sense." But there are rules to magic. Even if you look up things on like Harry Houdini, and I'm actually friends with a girl named Charlotte Pendragon, and she's a stage magician from Las Vegas. I went to Vegas. Cindella, that's her name, Cindella. Thank you for that, Zatara. And Zatara actually ends up having the helmet of fate, right? And that's what ends up, I think. I don't know if it takes him over. I'm not familiar with that storyline. I know it exists in Titans and such. So we're going to get into the read. I wanted to read you guys actually, we're going to talk about Constantine in just a second because we're going to talk about Swamp Thing. So I've been watching a show. It was released in 2019 called Swamp Thing. It features... it's actually really, really well done. I really love the girl they chose to play Abby. If you're not familiar with Swamp Thing is a character that exists now in the DC universe. If you watched the newest Crisis on Infinite Earths, the animated version, I should actually do a screening of that on Discord because then they won't get mad at me. From 2023, I believe it's from. Your first original character is Diana Queen. That's a great name, by the way. Daughter of Black Canary and Green Arrow. She is one. That's interesting, too, because I don't think in, like, a standard canon that Black Canary and Green Arrow have a daughter, but that would be amazing, actually, because Arrowette exists as Green Arrow's daughter, and he also has a son, I think, named Connor, who's like super attractive. Like all the new superheroes are like, oh, Connor's so hot. Like, and I mean, I like Oliver too as well. You can see him here. Alan Moore actually likes Green Arrow as well, and Green Lantern and the Greens. There's something to it all. Okay, so let's get into the history of Zatanna and Constantine. I've done quite a few readings of Constantine with Zatanna. Constantine has a soft spot for Zatanna, right? And I noticed this about Constantine is that he is very aware of the powerful women in his life. Like Constantine is very aware of like what magic is meant for women to hold. Hey Zalia, I'm actually emailing you tomorrow. I'm learning Aaliyah's song, More Than a Woman, the dance, and so I'm making a little tutorial for it, and so I would love for you to learn it, and we can like edit it all together. Oh, thank you. Mistress of Magic in real life. Fun thing about Zatanna is that She is both a stage performer of magic and does real magic too. And that's a tell, right? So Harry Houdini, and those who do stage magic, right? They commonly say that there is a code of magicians where you are, how do I explain it? Because just because there's a trick, right? Do you guys remember that show where it was like the masked magician and he was like showing all the tricks and like how they're done, right? And to me, even when you know how a trick is done, it doesn't take away the magic of it. Like when it comes to like movie magic, right? Like when you're doing the movie magic and you do the cut and these ways of how we show time in movies, these ways which we show like, you know, de-aging. Like if you, what movie did we watch the other day that I really liked? Waltzing with Brando was actually a really great movie because Marlon Brando in A Streetcar Named Desire, gorgeous man. And then he like becomes, you know, old. Like it's how we all have to deal with like the mortal coil. And Marlon Brando, all he really wants to do is like build this island in Tahiti, and he like spends all this money on it, and eventually like it doesn't happen, right? But there's a concept to that, right? Where that push and pull of like wanting to be a performer, being on when you're on, but then having this like need for privacy. And that's why we have, you know, the alter ego. So you don't see things like you have the mask in that case, right? Now Zatanna, like there's certain characters like Black Canary is one and Zatanna is another where they're actually like known in the DC universe, right? Like Black Canary's like a singer in many cases. Like people know who she is. I don't know if they necessarily know she's also a superhero, but they know of Black Canary. Same thing with Zatanna. She's like a well-known stage performer, right? When Batman comes to recruit her one time, she does this trick where like she makes like this elephant disappear from on stage, and he comes to find her backstage, and he's like, oh, so. Oh, I haven't started yet. I'm only going to do a small read tonight. I'm going to do Swamp Thing tonight. And I'll tell you guys why. Okay, I went on a tangent. I'm going to bring it back. So Constantine, John Constantine, master of the dark arts, master magician mage, right? He was actually created by Alan Moore. I didn't know that. I hope you found that out for me. So Alan Moore created Constantine to basically be like a buddy, like a friend to Swamp Thing. Now, when I was Phoenix with you guys, we talked a little bit about elementals. Well, yeah, my day show, we talk about elementals. And so Swamp Thing is supposed to be known as an elemental of the swamp. I've been watching the show from 2019 that has Ian Ziering as Blue Devil. It's really, I actually recommend you guys go watch the series. I think there's only one season. I'm like on the very last episode. But in it, I was wondering if they were going to go take the path that Alan Moore took with Swamp Thing. Alan Moore did not create Swamp Thing, but he added more to the mythos because Swamp Thing is supposed to be the elemental of the swamp who takes over the consciousness and memories of Alec Holland, which is the scientist who is studying, there's this like mutagen and other things going on in the swamp. There's this crazy accident that happens. And at first it's seen that like in the show Abby, I love Abby too. Like, so, bless the girls that are like, do the right thing no matter what, right? I love this cover too, right? It's got everyone on it. Elementary, my dear Watson. So Swamp Thing and Constantine are linked. I read you guys a story. I've been trying to get it back because I got it from the library a while ago, where Swamp Thing is able to take over people's bodies, right? Yeah, I'm not. I'm going to do a Green Lantern reading, actually, tomorrow from this book, because there's a good one. It was tripping me out, actually, about Abin Sur and prophecy, craziness. 144, Zelia, Missy. If you were to be a character, you guys, in this, who would you choose? Who would I choose? Is Crypto? Maybe Crypto. Black Canary's here too, right? Yeah. We're going to read Swamp Thing. It's Superman and Swamp Thing. There are common crossovers between Swamp Thing, Constantine, and the rest of the Justice League. Now, there's some, before I think 2013, Constantine and the Hellblazer series were done under Vertigo Comics, right? Now, after this point, Constantine gets pulled into the continuity of the DC universe. So there's a character actually in Crisis, like when you read it straight, named Pariah. Now, Pariah in this is, he's seen as being punished by not the Guardians, but he's punished in general for basically, if you're playing with certain things, like if you're like messing up with the time stream, or you're dealing with like this guy, freaking Pariah, this guy. So in the animated movie, this character Pariah ends up being Constantine. Okay, Constantine is punished because he's basically tried to erase the events of the Apocalypse War, I believe, like with Darkseid and stuff. Watching some Flash. Oh, I love that. Flash is so good. The Flash show, I think, is really well acted. Let's see here. The first Joker was also really good. I haven't seen the musical one. One of my good girlfriends has told me, she says that she thinks the biggest difference between DC and Marvel is that DC does deal with a lot more psychological trauma, let's put it that way, right? And I would say like the heroes are a little bit more conflicted in their morality. You have lots of splits in the Justice League between Green Arrow and Batman, and people who don't necessarily agree on the path forward. But when you know the path forward is not very clear, right? It's always shades of gray. It's really not like as easy as, it is simple, but like the whole stuff about it, like with emotions and stuff, especially us being under a full moon, it kind of teaches us that, even though things are like good on paper, sometimes things just don't feel right? So like, what is that? And just to be aware of your intuitions and your hunches and all that kind of stuff. So we're going to go into this. We're going to read Swamp Thing. I haven't actually read this one before, so it's going to be a read straight. It's always hard doing that. So Superman and Swamp Thing. Swamp Thing, Alan Moore, the way, as I said to you guys before, the way he's described Swamp Thing is that he's an elemental that's taken on Alex Holland's personality and consciousness. But the biggest thing that I find really important as intel with Swamp Thing is the concept of the green and the concept of Earth consciousness and tapping into Earth consciousness, right? So let's just get into it. And Constantine was actually created by Alan Moore himself as a companion to Swamp Thing. They dropped the ball after Devo. It's the thing about certain shows, though, you guys, like, I still love, like House, like Dr. House, for example, that show, or I didn't really watch Grey's Anatomy that much. Buffy the Vampire Slayer I really loved. There's like a few shows, but like it almost hits like a certain point, like after season 4 or 5, where I feel like it's really hard to like, how do you end a show? How do you have, like, it's really difficult. Like I don't envy creators having to tie up all the loose ends by the end, right? Or setups that you do in like season 1 or 2. If you're a big fan and you don't get payoff in those later seasons, it can feel like such a letdown. I enjoy Arrow. I like Arrow too. I have a character named Clara Third. Ooh, I like that. So wait, you guys, Superman and Lois Lane, they have a daughter too, right? They have Laura and they have John, right? And then there's like the clone, Connell, I think. I've got to map out that at some point in time. Okay, so let's get into the Swamp Thing read as Zatanna. Here we go. And as I said, Swamp Thing and Constantine are very good buddies. And I think the reason why is because magic is very much related to nature, in my understanding of it. And this is why, as well, I think Kryptonians are sensitive or weak, or what is the word? They're like vulnerable to magic. It's because Krypton is poisonous to Kryptonians. Like Superman's big, like it's kryptonite, right? It's your planet. Whereas for us as human beings, putting your toes in the sand, hugging a tree, even the sunlight here, right? It's everything that empowers us and brings us life. We're part of that earth. And so if we think of magic in that context, being able to harness the earth's magic, invoking, the storm or the sun or the thunder and the lightning and like all of like the volcanoes and the earthquakes. And so all of that power, like whether or not it's good or bad is usually a matter of perspective, right? Like the hurricane is not doing hurricane things to be malicious, right? An earthquake is not doing earthquake things to be like mad at you, right? It is a cycle of things. It's just us as human beings, when we are disconnected from the cycles of the earth, we sometimes feel like this is all stuff happening to us, although we can realize our place in it and have it's how I love how Constantine puts it. It's like riding the synchronicity wave and not thinking too much about it, because then you lose it, right? We give it meaning. We're meaning-making creator beings, right? We can't help, but there are no coincidences. I think that is the point. Everything is as it always is, as it was supposed to happen, right? And yes, let's continue the story. Gotcha. Let's do it. Superman and Swamp Thing. Here we go. Interstate 55 bakes in the oven of noon, the horizon rippling and churning as if viewed through boiling water. He's heading south. So there's a shadow on it this way, so I'm going to go this way. Thanks, you guys, for joining. This is Stories of Alan Moore. We're reading Swamp Thing and Superman. I'm Zatanna. This is from my Quantum Library. Here to give you intel on how reality works through comic books. So he's heading south. A sickly, what does this say here? Oh, a sickly tingling. Ooh. A sickly tingling traverses his scalp, settling at the nape of his neck. His shirt, damp and unpleasant, sticks to his shoulder blades. The eyes that once watched Quarks at play are sunken and shot with red. Is Superman driving? Like, what the heck is going on here? Hallucinations crowd the periphery of his vision. Oh, crazy. I hope you're safe. Like Mother Nature, all that craziness, like the solar flashes, all that stuff. Oh yeah. Here. The eyes that once watched Quarks at play are sunken and shot with red. Hallucinations crowd the periphery of his vision. And, for an instant, the car is streaking through a blood-soaked forest. The blurred faces of extinct animals staring from the crimson undergrowth. But only for an instant. Hey, buddy love. Hello. This is Alan Moore's Swamp Thing and Superman. But only for an instant. Swerving, he brings his knee on the underside of the dashboard, and the pain is no longer a novelty to him. Beside him lies the fragment of a shattered world. Before him lies the sun-struck highway. The man of tomorrow is heading south to die. What the heck is going on here? What's going on? Yes. In an iced... Oh, that would be really rare. See Nayla on love? I will check. I want to get through this though first, you guys, and we'll chat a little bit more. Otherwise, I'll go down a tangent and we'll never finish the story, and we'll be here for all time. Okay, so Superman and Swamp Thing title card. Here we go. The Jungle Line. This is written by Alan Moore, penciler Rick Veitch, inker Al Williamson, letterer Constanza, colorist Tangina Wood, and editor Julius Swartz. I do love how a whole team comes together to make a comic book. Thank you, Robbie. Welcome you guys to the read. I'm Zatanna, your mistress of magic of the DC Universe. We're reading some Alan Moore, Swamp Thing, because I love Constantine, right? Zatanna and Constantine kind of are a thing. And Constantine and Swamp Thing, very connected. Zalia and Gwen Stacy, you guys, I think you guys also have, oh my gosh, I'm getting tingles as I'm saying this. There's some vibe connection there, I think. Like with our original characters, like in a time before time where like someone's reading out their comic book about us, just trying to figure it out. And the whole cause is like, come on, get to the good part already, where like cool shit happens, right? Pokey, I'm aware I said a bad word. Shh. Okay. So we basically have Clark driving a car, and we're probably going to get the setup as to why he's in a position where he's driving somewhere to die. Okay. Once he bathed in the heart of the sun. I would love to bathe in the heart of the sun. Once he bathed in the heart of the sun, careless of the mile-high geysers of flame that spat at him in frustrated outrage. Now, for his impudence, it cooks him by degrees. The car is full of people. Clark? And then it isn't a car at all. Clark, are you taking this all in? I think so. Good. This is so boring. I keep tuning out and missing things. They didn't need to send both of us to cover a chunk of rock. In summary, ladies and gentlemen, in these days when reports of alien contact are commonplace, this meteorite may not appear to be special. It isn't. What's growing upon it is. Okay, so we've got a meteorite heading towards us. We have Clark checking it out as a news reporter, as a story. And is that Lois? I don't think that's Lois. His friend there is just like, this is freaking boring, covering this story. It's a meteorite rock. There's something growing on it, though. There is a tiny patch of living fungus that has somehow survived the rigors of space. It isn't particularly big or colorful. It's a dullish red. You'd need a microscope to examine it properly. So what this telling me is, what do you guys think it is? Space virus? I think it's space virus, right? Dwayne the Asteroid Johnson. Maybe that's a good guess as well, you guys. I'm thinking, color out of space where like the meteorite comes and is carrying some sort of like life form that potentially could cause some problems to the ecosystem here. We shall see. So it looks like this professor guy is just like touching the rock. I guess it's there. I wouldn't touch it. I always wonder that, like in movies and stuff, where like sometimes the character, it's like something goopy, or like Alien, right? Those people are always going up to the spores and putting their face right into it. I'm like, what happened to like, taking a sample from far away and putting it in a place where it can't attack you? Okay, so he's reaching out, touching the weird alien spore thing, and however, this life form has survived decades, possibly centuries. So they're saying it's like an ancient life form that's come along on this meteorite. In an absolute frigid vacuum. That's interesting. To science, this is an unprecedented discovery. This is also how the flood starts in Halo, by the way, and how we end up with some weird zombie disease. So, Venom came from space. It's a Marvel DC. Ah, maybe it's this one. How many meteorites are coming down and hitting us with things, though, you know? How many of them do we know about, really? Because I don't really trust NASA if I think about it. Like, there's a story that they want to sell us in general about space, but I welcome you guys to open your mind, open your imagination to what truly it could be, because you're probably right. And consensus reality is right. Both those things can be true. I want you to think about that possibility for a moment. Okay. Dr. Everett, is this find really that important? After all, for over 20 years, we've just had a living alien just as instructable upon our planet. Because remember, we're living in a world that has Superman, who is an alien, right? So they're like, okay, so you have this like weird spore thing on this meteorite, big deal. We have an alien guardian who's Superman here. So like, what makes this so special? Ah, you're talking about Superman. Well, the difference is that unlike this fungus, Superman could not be expected to lie still throughout what may be years of thorough research. I don't know, that's not even a great answer, I don't think. And Kara is an alien too. Also, Kara has this conversation with Batgirl. I wrote a comic book to you guys once, which I'm recreating as a skit. But Batgirl gets Supergirl to come with her to go like break into some Wayne Enterprises secret lab thing because they're holding a Kryptonian there. Anyways, it goes sideways. Supergirl gets hurt, and Batgirl's like, do you want me to take you to a hospital? And Kara's like, no, I'm an alien. They're just gonna like cut me up and experiment on me. And Batgirl's like, oh, I didn't really think about that. And she's like, yeah, exactly, right? So that perspective, like even in the Swamp Thing show, like if you express powers, you all of a sudden become like a specimen. And if you have power, like, and they want to use you and take you and extract stuff from you. Like, I want your blood to heal the world. Don't you want to do that? It's like, yeah, but it's my blood. Don't I have a say? So it's kind of like all of that is wrapped up in it when we think about Alien, as well as if we think about if we truly have galactic roots, then aren't some of us also alien here too? Or maybe some of you are elementals, right? Like all that kind of stuff. Well, Manhunter is alien. And Manhunter has crazy telepathy. I really love Megan. Manhunter's, is it his niece or his daughter? But she has a relationship with Superboy. And that dynamic is an interesting one because she uses her telepathy and like, you know, morality behind using telepathy and superpowers and all that kind of stuff. So anyways, let's continue onward. There's an alien spore coming on a meteorite. Clark is like investigating or covering the story. They're wondering like, what the heck is the big deal if like we're living in a world of Superman, right? So the guy's response, I think, is kind of like lame, right? He's like, well, the difference is, unlike this fungus, Superman could not be expected to lie throughout what might be years of thorough research. Any other questions? And then Superman looks at it and he's like, is that from Krypton? Oh my gosh, is it Kryptonian fungus? Oh my gosh. D-boy in my Gucci Nikes. And I wouldn't say I'm more into DC. It's like choosing a favorite child or choosing my favorite cosplay character. It changes on the time of it and what story I need to hear at the moment. I will say I like the DC heroines more, like the female characters of DC. In Marvel, I like more of the male characters. Like Captain America is like my boy. I love Captain America so much. But it's really about the story. It would be really hard for me to choose like a favorite. Pokey, stop doing that. And one day when babies come, no one's ever gonna believe me. Oh, cool. Thanks for asking it though. How about yourself? Do you have a favorite? And I find too, like if you think about Constantine or even like Star Wars or Conan the Barbarian, these properties are now Marvel Comics, right? Even though they started out in Vertigo or Dark Horse or other places. So, okay, let's continue on. So, Clark is looking at this fungus spore, and I feel like he's getting a hunch that it may be from Krypton, which may not be a good thing, right? Considering that kryptonite's like not great for soups. Okay, I'm gonna flip this side because I'm getting some shadow on it. I'm also, this is my first time reading this story. I actually received this whole compilation from my little sister in Vancouver, who's a big, she is a DC purist, though. She doesn't read any Marvel comic books. My personal experience with comic books, though, I grew up watching, you know, the old Batman show with Yvonne Craig and Adam West. That was like my first foray into that. But my first comic books were Avengers and X-Men comic books. Are you a magician in Vegas? Oh, I love magicians. I love the art of magic. The Prestige as a movie as well. Oh, one of my favorites. So good. The fact they have Tesla in that being played by like David Bowie, I feel like is a weird tell as well, right? Because music and magic, they're related when you do performance art, staging anything. Because I used to take drama, and I performed Les Miserables on stage, The King and I used to choreograph for that kind of stuff, and I love stage magic, you know, like how like my friends did Peter Pan, and the way they staged it to make it look like you fly is you had like a backdrop with like an open window, and you would jump out the window, and there'd be a trampoline. You jump on the trampoline, and it would look like from the audience that you were flying. And this is like in high school and stuff. So the creativity that comes into like making a magic trick, even like Michael Jackson when he does the Smooth Criminal thing where he does like the lean, you know, it's all a magic trick too. Now You See Me, I love that movie. I love that movie, actually. It's good. Yeah, the visual effects. And whether or not you do the visual effects in post-production or if you do it in camera, right? So if you do the trick in the camera or if you do it in post, right? Oh, for sure. I love magicians. We always need a little bit of magic in it. Like, I'm gonna do a show coming up, you guys. This will be both DC and Marvel, but sources of power. Like in DC, the Flash, right, who's responsible for the very first like multiverse, like the Flashpoint. He gets this power from the Speed Force, right? Diana and the Immortals and the gods, they get their sources from divine power. Magic also comes from like a different spot as well. I go to Comic Con depending on where and when. I'm in Toronto right now, though, right? I'm in the city Joe Shuster like lived, right? And Joe Shuster created Superman alongside Jerry Siegel, and I love that, how like you have the writer and the illustrator, just like how Alan Moore, depending on who he's working with the illustrator, that story comes to life in a different way. And I've been reading Alan Moore a lot. I've become used to the way that he writes, his prose, the way like, oftentimes he writes in such a way I'm like, no one's ever really gonna say that, Alan. But I think that's the point, right? Some dialogue has a double entendre in it and has a cipher underneath the meaning, right? How you emphasize your words matter when you're doing magic, right? So keep that in mind, right? Because especially since Zatanna, I've been trying to work on my reverse talking, how you say those words. Like, there's something to it. All right, let's keep going. I've been stuck on the same page for like 5 million years. Okay. Huh? Well, of course he's from Krypton. Everybody knows that. Huh, Clark? Oh, so I think Clark was talking about the spore, but like the chickie that he's with is like, well, of course everyone knows that like Superman's from Krypton. Everyone knows that. Clark, are you okay? And he like pushes up his glasses saying, yeah, I'm fine. I'm just a little warm, that's all. It's like he's coming down with something. So he's like having a flashback in the car of probably he got exposed to this. That's my guess. She helped him outside, glad of an excuse to quit the stuffy press conference. It's the Institute for... Oh, do we have such a thing in real life? an institute for extraterrestrial studies. Feigning illness, or dizziness rather, he searched through a memory vast enough to have every conceivable shape of snowflake precisely filed. Rem Oll's Almanac of Old Krypton, page 417, entry 5308. Old Kryptonian name, Avaral Uthoris. Common name, Bloodmoral. So he recognizes this fungus spore from an old almanac from Krypton, calling it a bloodmoral, meaning it's a blood fungus, meaning it probably like eats blood, meaning it's not a happy mushroom, like my mushrooms, like a evil mushroom. D-Boy My Gucci. I started reading Spawn and I'm almost through the Last Ronin series. Oh, I've read The Last Ronin on this show before. It was hard to read that. I cried a bunch of times. It's hard. Robert Rodriguez also did a foreword to the comic book I was reading with The Last Ronin, and he talks about how it's like us growing up. Like, you know, you had Batman in the 60s, or you had like these comic books that had these fantastical tales when you're younger, and as you grow up, you know, you fall from childhood. And what that feels like, what that looks like, can be done through story. And of course, it still hurts. But it provides us also with like training in our psyche to know how to deal with it, to come back from it, to grow from it, to learn from it. All that kind of stuff. Yeah. And April O'Neil, Casey Jones. If you haven't finished reading it yet, though, the way that they wrap up the whole story is really like heartwarming. Okay, let's continue on. So we know it's a blood morale. Clark's having this moment. Look at how I love how the book looks too. The Kryptonian always looks kind of like Atlantean, Egyptian, hieroglyphics, that kind of thing. Today is National Redhead Day. Wow, that means we have to bring a redhead back tomorrow. All right. Yeah, I know Pokey's short read turns into a 3-hour stream. And so those are the best streams though, right? Because you know what, you guys, it's the extra sauce that's locked in the story. You know, it's like if you were to tell someone what a story is about, it's not the same thing as you going through it itself. Well then, I could use all of you guys for help, right? Because I was called to this universe because you guys need some magic. It's very dense here. I'm going to do some work coming up with a group called the Plant Medicine Path. There are a couple in Costa Rica. And we're just looking at new ways for us to provide education about nature, magic, performance art, right? The idea of theater and performance art and acting, and also what cosplay has done for me has also introduced me to different aspects of myself. And you can do this in like a healthy performance way when you role play, right? And you can see how you come across, like that 3D eagle eye, like zooming back camera, as Jodorowsky says in The Holy Mountain, where you realize, oh, we're just in a story, right? Oh, Jordan, trust. You know what, though? I actually have a lot of single girlfriends here. There's an epidemic in Toronto, I feel like, of, I think it's because of dating apps and the perception that there's so many fish in the sea, when really that connection is very unique, right? Like, but if you have this concept, like, well, I have like 10 other girls I could just get, or 10 other guys I can just get, why do I need to put in the effort to this one if I can just leave and find whoever else? That idea, like streaming, I think has impacted, you know, the way relationships are, you know, that kind of thing. There's a way to heal it. There's always a way to heal it, my friend. And so maybe there's a connection there. The best way to meet people, I find, is just, you know, fun little intimate parties where you get to like talk about like this stuff. We'll see. I have hope. I'm a big romantic. I'm also responsible for a few marriages back in my hometown of Winnipeg, so there's that. Hold on. Put Oh my gosh. Hold on. Let me just... Were you just in Winnipeg? That's my hometown. I'm originally from there. I mean, that's why a lot of my Toronto girlfriends here, they're like, you're so not like other girls here. I'm like, no, I know. I also drive, you know. Thank you for that. Okay. So, Superman realizes that the spore on the meteorite is not good. It's probably negatively affecting him, causing fever, bouts of incapacitation, hallucinations, and chronic overexertion. And eventually, in 92% of all known cases, death. So what? Did Superman get infected from this? Oh, Tom Henry Theater and the fancy shopping center is so fun. Oh, so Leela, yeah, totally. I love love in all its forms too. Oh, thanks, a Paradox. Oh, great name. You guys have such great, magical names. That would be a great superhero name too. Oh, shoot. Okay, good. Okay. All right, we're gonna get through this, you guys. It's almost 3 a.m. and I wanted to be done within an hour. That kind of situation, but we're here now. Okay, and tomorrow, thank you for that reminder, Pokey, will probably bring back one of my redhead friends. Jean, maybe? Focus. Okay, so how much farther do I have? All right, I think what's going to end up happening is going to try to go to Swamp Thing for help, because Swamp Thing's a great healer. Okay, the bouts of incapacitation started the day after the press conference. So after Clark has gone to this press conference and was exposed to the weird fungus on the meteorite, he starts to get bouts of incapacitation. Clark, honestly, you're like a little kid. It's only a paper cut. It's hardly bleeding at all. It took his invulnerability an hour to return. He tested it every 10 minutes, holding his hand under the hot faucet in the washroom until there was no more pain. Can you imagine you just saw someone doing that under there? I'm just trying to get back my invincibility. Shortly after lunch, he discovered that he could no longer see through solid objects or hear at a distance. It's almost like, Clark, you should probably go out into the sun more. If you know that this is infecting you, you should probably do something a little bit more proactive about it. Geez, Kent, knock, why don't ya? Shortly after lunch, he discovered that he could no longer see through... Yeah, so he basically walks in on these two, having an affair at the office, and that's how he discovers how he's not able to see through the walls. Sorry, as he walks in. And by 6 o'clock, his X-ray vision had returned, although his ears still felt like they were stuffed with cotton. He considered flying to his apartment, but decided against it and took the subway instead. So basically, this blood morale, this weird fungus on that meteorite, since Clark/Superman has been exposed to it, his powers have now been diminished. He's now incapacitated. He's not invulnerable anymore. He can't see through walls. What is he going to do? He's basically sick, right? So then, that night, the hallucinations began. Oh, thanks, Jordan. Thank you for the roses. Appreciate it. Cal, wake up, Cal. Cal, you're dying. It isn't right they should end up like this. You're a legend. You have got to fight it, Cal. With respect, Superman, I don't agree. I mean, without your powers, you aren't special at all. Death comes to everyone in the end. You're no exception. Lie back and just accept it. I think that's called man flu. Oh my gosh, Pokey, hilarious. Ba-dum-bum-bum. So as he's having these dreams and hallucinations, Clark wakes up all like a nightmare. Oh my gosh, what the heck? Shut up. Shut up, both of you. I'm not listening. You aren't. And he looks real. Merciful Rao. What is happening to me? Well, you're sick. You're like actually sick with a Kryptonian virus, which like now you have like the fact that it's from Krypton, which A, probably not a great thing, and it's a blood fungus, so not a good thing there either. His super hearing returned deafeningly while he was crossing 7th Avenue on his way to work. Later, during coffee break, he knocked a cup from his desk and wasn't fast enough to catch it. There was only one option open to him: the Institute for Extraterrestrial Studies. Touchingly, Dr. Everett had given him the promised meteorite almost without question. He promised to return it, unharmed, if that was possible. So, oh yeah, he's sick. And because of that stupid blood fungus thing on the meteorite, he probably shouldn't have covered that story. Should have stayed away from it. But regardless, he goes to the Institute, gets that weird fungus rock that is causing him to be sick, probably because he wants to try to make some sort of cure from it or study it. That's my guess. So once he gets it, returning to his apartment, he began to examine it for clues for a possible antidote. After 20 minutes, his microscopic vision failed and he was forced to stop. He should probably not be exposing himself more to it. You know, it's just going to cause... so he just burns out his microscopic vision. And the only question that remained... Now Clark realized that he was going to die. And the only question that remained was where. I'm beaching. I have had some planned cosplay battles. I have some Batman ones and Guy Gardner, but I'm always open to some good ones, especially with my other DC chicas. Like, I would love some Poison Ivy. I would love Catwoman. I would love Harley Quinn, as well as my Birds of Prey, right? As well. Madame Xanadu is another cool character. In the Constantine show, they kind of make her not that attractive, but it'd be cool to have like a hot Madame Xanadu. So I'm going to throw that out into the universe. If you're out there and you're a tarot playing cosplayer who wants to be my co-host on a magic show. Okay, and I'm also still learning some magic tricks to do for you guys live, like pull a rabbit out of my hat. Oh, nice Gotham bitch. Amazing. And Gwen Stacy, I had an original character named Ava. Great name as well. You have such good names, Gwen Stacy. How did they come to you? Ava, daughter of Ivy and Harley. She just turned 1 last month. Oh, Ivy and Harley have a great relationship. They're really cute. Like, I read you guys a comic you can get on my YouTube where Huntress and Black Canary go off on like a trip. So Batgirl has to call on Catwoman and Poison Ivy to help her out with like a gig, basically. And she has to tell them, like, don't kill anybody, right? Of course, yeah. Please do drop her name in here. I would love to connect. Def. Okay. So Clark, like, it's kind of funny he like comes to this conclusion all on his own. It's probably because the fungus is affecting his mind, because why not reach out to some of the other members of like the Justice League team for some help, you know? Some cosmic support. He wanted to be alone when it happened, but his fortress was too distant and flying was unthinkable. So now, like, Superman has no powers. He knows he's gonna die. This is why he's driving out in the middle of nowhere, right? So he's gonna have to drive across the country from Coast City, where the Flash is, across Central City and Star City. He also eliminated Gotham, New York, Washington, and all other cities frequented by the superhero community. So it's almost like Clark's just ashamed of the fact that he has this sickness, and instead of getting help, he's like, I'm just gonna like go away to die, which like I also just think is because his mind is being affected by like the blood spore, right, from the meteorite. So finally he bought a secondhand car in a cash transaction under the name Cal Ellis. Now, remember that name Kal-El, because in the story, whatever happened to the Man of Tomorrow, when Lois Lane is giving her interview and she remarries, she's Mrs. Ellis, right? Dun, 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 dun. Okay. Final, so he basically, so under the name Kal-El, taking the meteorite just in case. I don't know why he needs to take that thing with him. It's like making you more sick. He made for the one place in America with no indigenous superhumans. He headed south. Blam! So he crashes the car, it looks like, on his way south. And I guess he's kind of headed towards the swamp, which is where he's probably going to see Swamp Thing. Kal-El? It's no good running, Kal-El. You've been running for more than 20 years, Kal-El. Running from the death of your planet. You should have died on Krypton, Kal-El, as you were meant to. You know that, don't you? And now, after all these years of running, your destiny has finally caught up with you. Here, Kal-El, here in the Scarlet Jungle. Leave me alone! You're all dead. Extinct is the word, Kal-El. We're extinct, like all Kryptonians. Come and join us. Take your place in the shade of these broad crimson leaves forever. His face is strangely familiar. Sleeping, he clasps the rock to his breasts as if it were an ugly child. So he basically is facing his hallucinations, Kal, here, and I think he passes out, at which point Swamp Thing shows up, and he's like, what the heck is going on here? Why are you holding this ugly rock? I examine it. Its underside is discolored by brittle pink moss, a species that I do not recognize. Now remember, Swamp Thing's connected to the green of the entire planet. All of the trees, all of the green spaces, all of that is all connected, and Swamp Thing is able to tap into it, right? But so he's able to recognize that this like living being spore thing is not from this planet. Inquisitive, I brush its dry and engraved surface with my fingertips. I sense the unusual rhythms in its cells, in its parched tissues. Concentrating, I try to establish contact. Red trees, red sun, too much gravity, too much sensation. Pull back, pull back, pull back away from it. So Swamp Thing, basically, like, he touches it because he's trying to, like, get to know more info about that weird blood spore that's on the meteorite that came from Krypton. And it starts to kind of, like, take him over. Like, the red sun, the too much gravity, it's all, like, hitting Swamp Thing. And then the stone drops from my fingers and the contact is broken. What the heck happened? I touched it and I was on another world. It isn't from here. It's foreign. It's alien. Indeed, right? Kryptonian, just like Kal-El, which is now who it is affecting. I study the man's face, says Swamp Thing. Well, this is like an internal monologue. We could all hear Swamp Thing's thoughts. And he's speaking like... I love how in comic books, you know, like the different dialogue boxes, how they are designed. Like, Alan Moore likes to use like fairy script for when you're talking about like fantastical creatures. And so Swamp Thing has his own like swampy dialogue panel stuff, art. Okay. I study the man's face. His haunting familiarity. I think I know that I know who he is. I move towards him. Stay back, all of you, stay back away from me. Remember, Kal/Superman is having hallucinations of like all of the dead all the extinct beings from Krypton, which I believe, like the spore, just like mushies, right? You hold all of this intel from the Earth and like the history of everything within the cells. And so in his like delirious state, Cal's probably going to like accidentally attack Swamp Thing, is my guess. So I begin to open the blackened tatters of his shirt. He moved slightly, muttering words in another language, probably Kryptonian. Yeah, Clark, come down. He's just trying to help you, right? Like, Swamp. But I mean, like, I guess if you had like this big green monster, it's like, I'm just trying to help you, man. You're like, I'm going through a bad trip right now. So Clark's like, I won't rot here with the rest of you. You can't keep me here. Don't you know who I am? And then as Swamp Thing opens up the shirt in front of his chest, the S is revealed, right? Superman? Ugh, get away. You're all dead. Get away from me. And so he uses, I mean, I thought he had no powers left, but he uses his laser vision against Swamp Thing, I guess because he's in a panic. There is a hole in my chest. So Superman basically laser eyes, heat visions Swamp Thing, who's just freaking trying to help. And Swamp Thing, he's just very calm about it. He's like, oh, there's a hole in my chest. It will heal. Behind me, my awakened visitor rants at empty air. Rants at empty air, because remember, he's hallucinating, right? His skin glistens slick with feverish perspiration. Bellowing with rage, he moves his head in a curious sideways motion. And on the other side of the clearing, an invisible scythe begins to reap the trees. 4 bushes burst into flame. In its stump, the rancid green water begins to boil. The most powerful creature on the planet has gone mad. Uh-oh. Well, I don't know. He wouldn't be the most powerful creature anymore, Swamp Thing, because he's losing his powers, apparently. But I don't know, like, why? How was he suddenly able to heat vision him? Okay. He stares, static crackling in his eyes that have traveled beyond reason. A boulder shifts its hue from gray to red to white. And finally, it shatters. He howls, and a hurricane spills from his lips. I dare not look. I dare not look away. Hanging in the air, he burns like a supernova approaching its crescendo. Sweat drops from his brow, vaporizing instantly in the rays from his eyes. I realize that soon the overexertion will kill him. I must calm him, but he is unreachable. There is no means of communication, no possibility of contact. And then so Swamp Thing thinks about it. He's like, wait, contact. So he reaches out and touches his shoulder because basically Superman's gone mad, right? The fungus spore has gotten to him. He's going through a really bad trip right now. Swamp Thing's like, I can't help you if you keep on lasering me with your eyes. So he reaches out, touches him to establish a form of understanding between the two. The red sun shrivels the red grass. The dead birds shriek with red voices. I am elsewhere with him. More phantoms. You can't keep me here. I escaped. The planet died, but I escaped. Don't you understand? I'm not like you. I'm not extinct. I'm alive. Have a good night, Gonvich. Thank you for joining the read. The rest of this read will be ready tomorrow. I know, bro. He's definitely freaking out. He basically squished off Swamp Thing's hand. Luckily enough, Swamp Thing can grow back a new hand. So that's good news, at least. And then he grows back his hand and then reaches out again to Clark saying, "You're dying." And Clark responds with more heat vision at Swamp Thing. And yeah, Gwen Stacy, like, chill out, man. Like, come on. Like, you know, have you ever had, like, someone who's, like, freaking out on, like, mushies or freaking out on, like, I've had, friends of mine freak out on, like, edibles and stuff. And just, you need some water. You just need some air. You just need to calm down. Stop freaking out. No one's gonna die. You just gotta, like, come back to me. Okay. Please, you cannot destroy me. I am a friend. You must not exert yourself. You won't trick me that way. You want me to give up. Is that it? Well, it won't work. And you can see his face. It's all like crazy face, right? I'm Superman. I go down fighting. And then he punches Swamp Thing, and Swamp Thing goes flying. And Swamp Thing's like, oh my gosh, this guy. Scrunch. And he falls all the way over there. And then looking up, he sees Clark coming at him with like this big bone. And he says, no, in protest. It is the fighting. That is what is killing you, Clark. Well, killing you. You are burning up from the inside. The fever raging within you pushes your weakened body way beyond its limits. Limits, yes. Yes, I remember. Chronic overexertion and eventually death. You must be still if you wish to survive. I can't, this fever, the scarlet jungle fever, I'm so hot. Forget the scarlet and the heat. Swamp Thing reaches out his hand to Superman. Touch my hand and let the inferno within you be extinguished by cool darkness, by endless green. So Swamp Thing basically like pulls Clark's madness and like incubates him within the green, the healing green of the earth. And so he falls, collapses, and finally Swamp Thing is holding his hand as he recovers. Yeah, Clark, you're okay. You're just sick with alien flu. Swamp Thing's got you, man, you know? Break contact. And so Swamp Thing's got him. He's laying in his arms. The fever is leaving him. The storm is now over. He has come through the night and the forest of blood. He will live. Aw, Swamp Thing, you just saved Superman's life. Like, no big deal. Oh, I love you, Swampy. I love, you know who they cast as I don't know who they cast as Abby, who that actress is, but whoever played her in that latest Swamp Thing show, I think she's fantastic. So daylight. Swamp Thing has come, cured Clark, left. And Clark wakes up, Superman wakes up, it's daylight now. A pale sun climbs above the gray trees. He is alive. Oh my gosh, no. Can't breathe, what do you do? Well, we're coming back now though, right? We went through the dark night of the soul and then we're coming back the other end, right? You survived, yay. He is alive. Struggling to his feet, he checks himself. There is no pain. Looking beneath his skin, he can see no broken bones, no hostile organisms thriving within his blood. In Washington, a congressman's wife clears her throat, and he hears it. In Harlem, a baby wakes up crying, and he hears it. The fever and the weakness have passed. He is Superman. He's back, baby. Just need a little Swamp Thing healing, right? He wonders about the rock. Had its course from the exploded planet avoided the radiation belt that would have transformed it into kryptonite? So that's what he's asking. Like, how come this spore rock became that fungus? Like, it made it through the radiation and didn't just become kryptonite, which I think that's how they're explaining how kryptonite is formed. I'm Zatanna, you guys, Mistress of Magic of the DC Universe, right? I'm actually in this story too, Crisis on Infinite Earths. You always need some magical backup when you're fighting bad guys across dimensions, right? Okay, so Superman's back, baby. And the reason why I'm reading you guys Swamp Thing is because I love Constantine. Monsieur John Constantine, right? And John Constantine was created actually to be a buddy to Swamp Thing, right? Because when you're dealing with elemental spirits, those kinds of entities, you need a mage, right? Thank you. Let's see, where are we? So he wonders about the rock. Had its course from the exploded planet avoided the radiation belt that would have transformed it to kryptonite? No matter. He knows that it cannot harm him now. He has survived. Launching himself upwards, the half-remembered fever dreams of the night before drop away before him. He survived. Survived when there was no hope of another morning as glorious as this one. Survived. Oh, thanks, Robin. Appreciate it. Welcome to the read. This is Alan Moore's Swamp Thing and Superman. And we're coming towards our very happy ending, guys. The morning after. You know, the dawn afterwards, right? Good timing, too, with that gift. So survived when there was no one there to help him. Upwind, there is a splash as a gator thrashes its tail, nosing out into the deep water. The vine-draped shadows beckon. The ancient trees whisper. Oh, thank you. Their leaves are a banished crimson in the first shafts of dawn. And so, like, it's like not even known. Like, Superman's like, oh, I survived, having no idea that Swamp Thing like came through there, healed him, and returned him back to the world. So that's kind of, and that's the end of the story. I just take off my gloves for a bit just so I can double check the pages. And thanks again, Robin. I like that name too. So the next story I'm going to read you guys is going to be a Green Lantern story about Abin Sur. It's a cool one, actually. It has prophecy in it where they talk about Hal Jordan, because Abin Sur is the Green Lantern who dies and passes along the ring. The ring chooses, of course, Hal Jordan, but it's an interesting story because it deals with, more Batman. You want more Batman, hey? But that's not for tonight. Also, other stories in this, of course, are The Killing Joke, right? Which, it's a heavy story. It's a hard one for me to read on TikTok, but I will probably save that one for more of like a scary late night story. I am going to go to bed, Pokey, but I'm going to get up tomorrow. I have a few calls in the morning with a few, what should I call them? Production calls, I guess, because we've got some new shows coming up. Do I have a Fantastic Four book? Yes, sir. I have not specifically Fantastic Four, but I have Fantastic Four with Spider-Man. Blood Hunt? I have a story. I have a story with Fantastic Four in it, though. Do you have any stories from the Fantastic Four that you would like for you to read? I'm learning some tricks. I am Zatanna. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Oh, I got hot reading from that. So, I wanted to read you guys tonight a Constantine story, but I didn't manage to go get that story. I'll tell you that story. Well, I'm going to be Susan's story. I love Sue Storm, you guys. Sue Storm, Reed Richards, the first family Fantastic Four. Still waiting for my we still are having some mail stuff when it comes to things here in Canada. There's a few other sketchy things happening here right now. Like, I'm in downtown Toronto, right? I'm going to be splitting my time very soon between Toronto and my hometown of Winnipeg, because I'm starting my own radio station, TV station, the online streaming, whatever you want to call it, in Winnipeg. So we can do some like live theater shows, like a little mini basement theater that I'm going to do some live shows and stuff. But Constantine as a character is a very big favorite character of mine, just because, like, there's a scene in the comic book where Zatanna and Constantine aren't together, but Constantine comes to Zatanna for some help because Zatanna's like a mistress of magic. She can see the future. She's got certain clairvoyant talents. So he comes to her because he has her key card and comes into her apartment. And she gives him shit, basically, like, Constantine, I love you, but I don't want to, like, end up sleeping with you and, like, all this other stuff. Like, people like us can't have normal relationships. So, but I will help you because I love you, but you're nuts, right? Yes, Pokey, I do need to hire a production crew. And I do need to, like, I want all of those things. I want to be a part of building the new way we do things in the new world, right? The way we have, like, magic shows, the way we have, like, things not so just controlled by, like, I love DC Comics, I love Marvel, but these stories are bigger than the distribution companies, right? Just like how, like, myths and legends, you know, like Arthurian legends, or like Zeus, or the Roman gods, or any of these, like, pantheons that exist cross-culturally, these stories are not, no one owns them, right? Even when someone creates a character, you let that character go out to be free. And just like you have done, Gwen Stacy, where you, we as other creators can take that character and create new stories with them, right? As long as we pay respect to what that original source material was, right? Yes, I did, Pokey. I know that, and which is why our call has been taking us so long, because I want it to be productive, right? As well as I want to actually make sure that all of my implementations in the back end are working. So, anyways, that's it for me tonight, you guys. Thank you for joining me for this read. Next time I'll be back on as Zatanna. I will have a Constantine read. I'm going to try to find the story where Swamp Thing, I don't know if you guys know about this story. Swamp Thing basically takes over Constantine's body. Like, he turns into, like, green goop and he goes into Constantine's body, takes over his body so that he can have a baby with Abby. Because, like, Swamp Thing, even though he's, like, big and green and, you know, hunky and stuff, he's a plant, so he can't, you know, reproduce. So for him to have Swamp Baby Thing, he takes over Constantine's body, and Constantine sleeps with Abby. And it's a really funny scene because Constantine's a chain smoker, right? And Abby's like, you smell gross. You smell like tobacco, and like, and you stink. Like, because she's used to being around, like, the green man, right? Of, like, the forest and the swamp and, like, nature. And so, and then the reason why they say it has to be Constantine that Swamp Thing does this with is because astrologically, Swamp Thing and Constantine are connected. And it's probably because Alan Moore created Constantine for Swamp Thing. Because when you have elemental beings, magical beings, as someone who speaks to birds on a regular basis, and Wolfie, my dog, when you speak to animals, or if you speak to trees, or you I don't know how to explain it, other than, like, once you do it, or you receive a message in that realm, or you feel things, just like how Swamp Thing in this, when he was trying to figure out how to talk to Clark when he was in that mad state, he had to do body language, right? Like, physical contact, where I'm going to touch you and be like, okay, come back to me, right? So there are different types of magics, right? If you, a really great show, I'm going to end it with this, speaking about magic. One of my favorite shows about magic was the made-for-TV miniseries with Sam Neill called Merlin, where, of course, you had, like, Merlin as a child growing up and learning about magic. So, in it, the way it's taught is that magic needs to have, like, three things, where you have intention, action, and then like, oh my gosh, there's like, but there's different types of it. Like whether or not you do magic vocally, like abracadabra, I create as I speak, or if you do like more physical, I'm gonna do like gesture magic. Like the magicians, you watch that show, they're always like doing like different emblems to do. Or the OA, when you're opening a portal, you're basically, dance has a lot of magic in it as well. If you have synchronized movements at the same time, rhythm, right? Doing all that. There's putting it all together in such a way so that it has intention. And also Constantine deals a lot with the fact that all of these things need to be treated with huge respect and care. Very easy to open a portal and let some stuff through that you didn't really intend to, right? Or you can have all the best intentions, like in Constantine's case, like when he's trying to fight a demon, he tries to bring another more powerful demon to fight it, but then he's not able to control it because he doesn't know how to bind the demon properly. He's not experienced yet as a magician yet. And I think we all know what that's like when you're youthful and arrogant and you think you got this, right? And you get schooled hardcore, right? Yes, thank you, Rai. Spell, verbal, hand. Yes. You can write the spell, right? You can verbalize the spell, and then there's hand magic. And then it's like further empowered if you have all three, where you have the written sigil, or like a representation of something that's inherent magic. You have something verbal, where you speak it, use your throat chakra, which is very activated with the Taurus full moon right now, right? And then, of course, you have behavior, right? The movement, all that kind of stuff. And then if you add sound, right? And if you add synchronicity and the right moment of the stars, right? It's all in there. I think it's just, we've all kind of forgotten a little bit how to do it, right? And to Gwen Stacy, which magic? I would say it's all magic. Every culture has its own version of magic. Like in Filipino culture, right? In the Philippines, it was all kind of like snuffed out by the Spaniards, right? When Christianity came to the islands, the pantheon of gods and goddesses were wiped out, right? And then you had the aswang, and all of the medicine women became witches, right? They became demons, right? It's because we don't do a great job of dealing with the other worlds. That's all it is. Like, I'm not saying you should like make deals with demons and stuff, right? But I'm just saying that this stuff exists. Evil, nefarious stuff exists. And the more that we have the courage to look at it and to realize that like you can't be scared forever, right? You to like get used to how like, you know, like, okay, I'm scared, I'm fearful, but let it just pass over you like a wave. And then it's over, right? And then you're like, you know what? Wasn't so bad. Now was it, right? And you survived. Just like Clark, like, you can do it, right? And I'll leave you with this, just because I have gone through a really hard time growing up. I've had to fight to be exactly who I am. And I really have to thank a lot of these characters that were created in silly things like comic books for truly saving my life. So, I am married. That's the thing. I've been married for like 10 years. And so, as I said, I love love. I love people being in love. I love people finding their person. I love beating the odds and all that kind of good stuff. So, however, though, I have a little sister I've been trying to get. She always tells me, she's like, I'm sorry, Rachel, it's been hard to find like a brother-in-law for you. I'm like, yeah, you know, thank you. You know, I'm really lucky. I'm really blessed. But you know what, you guys, I will put it out there that if you really think that your person's out there, she's looking for you too. Trust me. Okay. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining me for this read. This has been a slice. We will be revisiting Crisis on Infinite Earths, the animated show, very soon, because they come back to this story and they do a great job of like updating it with Constantine, because essentially there are always consequences when you deal with things of epic proportions, like cosmic things, like, the time stream and fate and destiny and all that kind of good stuff. So we'll talk a little bit more about that coming up tomorrow. I haven't decided what the read will be, but for sure we'll have a little bit of a morning show to talk about D&D, Astro, and maybe we'll do some pendulum work as well. So if you have any yes or no questions, bring it to the live tomorrow. I'm not exactly sure when that will be, and Pokey, we will circle back to see when we can have our call about that. You missed my Phoenix, Gwen Stacy? You know what? I really love when you call me Mama Jean. It like gives me tingles. It feels right. So, see. Also, no, I'm not, Pokey. No one owns nice. Yeah, it's true that. Okay, no one owns anything, you guys. We are all just stopping through. We all just get to we only have this really, really short time, and so let's just do the best to still remind ourselves that it's still a beautiful thing. It's still a beautiful place. It's still a goddamn miracle that we're all here right now, right? Okay, guys, thank you so much. Remember, it takes true courage for you to play as exactly you in this cosmic game of life. So be sure to play as exactly you, because the universe is counting on you. But no worries, I have your back. Till next time, guys. Bye.